Welcome to the Backseat Managers Podcast. We are stoked to be here all together today. So we have, again, this is Oscar. I am hosting today, and we have the rest of the crew here today. We've got Milo as always. We've got Ollie, again, like last time. But really, we have the myth, we have the legend, we have Jude. Jude, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, Jude's the man. Okay. So we are so stoked to get into it with Jude and with everyone today. So what we're going to be going over with, first of all, we're going to be playing a game with Jude and guessing his answers, and then we'll get into some Arsenal chat, we'll get into some England chat, and we'll go from there. Before I dive into that, though, I just wanted to rub it in Milo's face that I beat him at predictions this last week. If you can read that. So
you got four predictions right?
I did. Yeah. Well, we did. I got there were 4 predictions, and I guessed 2 of them exactly right, so you get 2 points. And Milo guessed 3 of the results, but he didn't guess any of the predictions. So I win.
You know what you should do? You should aggregate this over the season, and then...
No, that's what we're doing. If you've been listening to the podcast that you were on, Ollie, you would.
I just say my piece and then peace out. You know.
Yeah. You would know that basically what we're doing is the winner every week gets a crate of ginger beer, and we're going to settle up at Christmas. So the first crate of ginger beer goes to me, and we'll go from there. So anyway,
nice. Oscar, maybe turn your mic down just a tiny bit.
Oh, am I too loud?
No,
just
you're really quiet, Milo.
I'm quiet?
Yeah, you're really quiet.
Okay.
Anyway.
Never mind.
Okay, ready?
I'm just saying Oscar's louder than Ollie, but...
Well, I'm so loud. I'm a loud guy.
How much? All right, turn yours down a little bit, Oscar. And
I
then
turned
Milo,
it down a little bit. Is that
turn
better?
it a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I am accused often of being so loud on the phone, so I'm not surprised that podcast is the exact same.
No, you're good
but
now.
really, what we want to get into is this is boring content. Let's move forward, lads. What we want to get into is we want to spend some time with our man Jude, because we are so stoked to have you on the podcast with us, Jude.
Let's go, Jude.
One of my favorite people that have ever walked on this planet. So what we're going to do is we're going to play, if you know the newlywed game, basically we're going to ask Jude some questions. He is going to tell us the answers, and I'm going to write down what I think his answers are, and Milo's going to guess what his answers are as well, and we're going to see whether we were right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I'm going to ask you a question. You can think about it for a minute, for a little bit if you want, and then, but you're going to tell us what the answers are, and we're going to see whether we're right.
For some context, Jude is a bit of a football scholar himself. So
yeah, Jude. First of all, tell us about yourself. Can you tell the world who you are?
What you like about football?
Yeah, I'm Jude, and I'm an Arsenal fan, like all of us. Yeah.
And
I'm almost 10.
Yeah.
Almost 10.
And you love memorizing. You love memorizing what? Football. There we go.
And Jude, how many jerseys do you have?
That was going to be my question.
Oh,
30-something.
More than all of us combined.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think we should do a segment where it's just Jude's jerseys, and we'll just. I think that'd be great.
That's what the podcast should be called, Jude's jerseys. That's
just
runs.
Well, we gotta have Jude on every week if that's the case.
Is good as well. We're all good.
Okay, Jude. First question I have for you is: so we know Arsenal's your favorite football team because you're a smart lad. But my question is, why is Arsenal your favorite football team? So what do you think? Why is Arsenal
Don't tell
your
them yet.
favorite
They're going to write it.
football team?
So they're going to write it on a whiteboard.
Okay.
And you're going to answer it.
All right, Jude. Okay. Do you have your answer? Do you know why Arsenal is your favorite football team?
Don't say it yet. Let's.
Okay. Go ahead. You can say.
Okay, now say it.
Because I think they have good players and they have a good team.
When did you first start becoming an Arsenal fan? What was the reason you started becoming an Arsenal fan?
Yeah. So I started it. So So it all started when I was a little boy.
Which still is.
Yeah. So
So why
that
did you
was
pick
watching-
Arsenal and not other teams?
Yeah, because I've seen that watched a lot of Arsenal games when I was little.
Nice. That's a great
All right.
answer.
That's a good answer. I was off. I thought he was going to say you, Ollie, but
I thought that was going to be my
That didn't
my
come
shout
up
too.
once.
Yeah, no, your name did not. Jude obviously cares nothing about your opinion for football teams. He's just
Which is
all about
almost
the.
better because then
That's-
it just shows that
That's
it was
true.
his
That's
own
great.
decision.
He's objectively an Arsenal fan. That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's about the
really
content. He's
I
about the players. He's about the style of play. He doesn't care what you have to say.
Nothing to do with
I
that.
feel like us three, we were solely invested because of our dad, your granddad, Jude, because
Well, I was actually
My-
born closest to Highbury out of all of us. So.
but my entire growing up, we've always been nowhere near winning the title. So yeah, I don't think winning was the reason that any of us became an Arsenal fan.
I got the most Arsenal glory out of us three. So
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so I've got Jude and the crew. So Jude, if you can stump us, you get a point right there. But you got to actually. So there we go. Okay. All right, Jude. Next question is: who is your favorite footballer of all time?
that's a good one.
Alex.
No, don't
Wait.
say it.
I
one
knew
second.
it. I knew
Wait,
it.
what did he say? What did he
That's
say?
what I was going to say.
What did you
Did you
say?
say Lacazette?
Yeah,
Lacazette. Has to be.
Yes.
When me and
Alexander
Oscar
Lacazette.
were on a phone call deciding how we were going to do this segment, I was like, we should do something like, what's his favorite footballer? And I would say it would be Lacazette. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that's
100%. Lacazette. And Jude, why is Lacazette your favorite footballer?
Yeah, it's because I think he's really good.
and bold.
Yeah.
And bold.
And bold.
Oh, that's
Bold or bald?
No, why? Tell them specifically. What
Bald.
did you do that made you love Lacazette so much? Do you remember what we did when we went to England? And what did
Oh yeah, I remember. This is how. Yeah. So it was Christmas Day, I remember. And then this is how I became a Lacazette fan. So it was like a big present, and then Arsenal sent me like a big present, and then inside was this like big jersey with Lacazette on the back of his name.
So
and
sick.
it was signed. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was
Arsenal.
signed.
Arsenal sent him a care package because he's such a big fan, and it was signed by Lacazette. And do you remember what did he send you as well?
A video.
A video.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. That's so
And
cool.
he said, "Hey Jude, thanks
He
for
went,
coming and
'cause
watching
he's
my
French,
goal."
And all
Yeah.
of us used to be fluent in French, but not anymore. He went, do you remember? He said, Allez, Jude. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That's actually so sick.
Yeah.
He's become my favorite player too.
Lacazette. That is that is so. Arsenal has so much class, by the way, for doing something like that, and Lacazette as well. That they
And
love.
do you remember
that,
why did they do that? Do you remember? They put us in, do you remember the sensory room for you? Because the stadium was too loud. Do you remember?
Yeah, and I even got to watch the Arsenal and Fulham game
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah, you got a private.
So cool.
You got like a private
Dude,
box. It
you've
was
seen an
nuts.
Arsenal game before I have. Isn't that so cool?
It's kind of sad, my lunch.
Yeah,
It's
no,
honestly depressing.
That's really embarrassing.
One
Alright.
time I lived in England and I never saw one.
All right. Okay. Question 3 is a great answer, but
How
we
many
knew
questions
you a
do
bit
you guys
too well.
have?
We got 5. So
All right.
number 3, Jude. If you could, Jude's obviously a monster on the football pitch as well. Jude, if you could say that you're most like one Arsenal football player, who do you think it would be?
If you could be any Arsenal player, who would it be? And don't answer it. Oh, wait, Arsenal
Okay.
player or any player?
Arsenal football player.
Okay, so don't answer yet.
so someone that's currently playing on Arsenal's team.
They have to be playing
let's
right
say
now.
let's say you're playing football, right? And you're like, I'm someone, and then you go.
You're out,
and do whatever.
you're out when you're outside and you do your pretend games and you imagine you're on the field like you love doing.
Yeah.
If you were to pretend,
He's
you
got
were
it.
a
He's
current-
got a name locked and loaded. He knows what's up. Jude, who's the player?
Gabriel Jesus.
Oh,
Crazy.
no
Great
way.
shout.
I had Saka.
No, it's not. Well, it's sometimes Saka. It's Gabriel more often than not.
Is it Gabriel
right.
Martinelli more than it is Saka?
No, it's
Never Martinelli?
Gabriel Jesus for sure.
Milo, did you have Saka as well?
I had Saka. Yeah, I was going to say Saka. But honestly,
He's 2-1. He's got us. I've heard
we
him
need to play
say
more
Gabriel.
football with Jude.
We do need to. Okay, Jude, here's a different one. Okay, if you could steal a player from a different team
That's a
and
great
plop
question.
them on Arsenal's squad, who would you take? Don't tell me just yet. But so it's someone that's on a different team.
They have to
and
be
you pull
playing
them
right
in.
now. So they have to
They're
be playing
playing right now.
any other league in the world. Okay, it could be La Liga, it could be Bundesliga, it could be
It could be in the
MLS,
Premier League. It could be in the Premier
Oh,
League.
I
any
know
other
who it
league.
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so hang on.
Okay.
I know who it is.
I have no idea who. He's
I
gonna
actually,
say,
I am not 100% sure on this one.
No,
Okay,
I think I know who it is actually.
okay, Jude, which player would you take and bring on Arsenal?
If I get this right, we get a point. Go ahead, Jude.
Jude Bellingham.
Oh my god!
I had Mo Salah.
I was
I
going
had
to say
Mo Salah.
Holland.
I was going to say Harry
Oh.
Kane. He loves Harry
Wow.
Kane.
Yeah,
He said
I've heard.
Jude
I know
Bellingham.
Salah.
That's a great shout.
That's a great shout.
His
We need a
name's
number 8
Jude.
back.
How did we
Yeah,
not
that's
get
true.
that? Yeah.
Imagine Jude Bellingham in the number 8 role instead of Havertz. That'd be
Oh yeah.
the
Well,
greatest thing
that's
ever.
the thing. Honestly,
No,
Salah.
to be honest, you could start Jude Bellingham, but hey, we're going off topic. But you could start him in the front three with Martinelli and Saka. That would be
sick.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
you could, but he's just he's killing it as a can.
Yeah.
Like he's killing it in the midfield. He's
Hey, good
he's the
pick,
top
man.
goal
That's
scorer
a great
in
pick,
La
Jude.
Liga when he's not even a
Jude-
striker.
Jude's been watching a lot of old Jude Bellingham's highlights recently.
See, this is why we
I
have Jude on
have.
the pod because we know nothing and Jude knows everything. That's
a
why.
great shout, Jude.
Okay, Jude.
Good question.
I have one more. I've got one more question for
I
you.
thought you were going to say Harry Kane.
I have one
I
more
was
question
at
for you,
first.
and I think we're all good on this one. Jude, who is going to win the Premier League?
Buddy, I want to tell you, I don't want it to be City again.
But
Who do you think it's going to be this season? Who do you think it's going to be?
If you could choose a team that you think has the biggest chance of winning it, who do you think it is?
Who do you think it is?
Liverpool?
Really?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Arsenal.
You know,
Jude,
Liverpool.
it's not a bad shout. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Arsenal, City, or Liverpool.
They are doing great. Okay, well, Jude,
Jude's very
you-
non-biased.
well done. Jude. You beat us 3-2.
Hang on.
We could not
I've-
guess Jude's mind,
One more question. I'm going to put this.
Okay.
This is our.
but you already won. Jude
what
won.
do we,
This is
what do we
extra
call
credit.
it? This is
4-1.
our bonus round. Okay. If you
3-2.
could watch any game again, what is your favorite game that you've ever watched? Any
No
football
idea.
game. It doesn't even have to be Arsenal. What's the best football game you've watched?
Oh, I have one.
Okay. Let's hear
He
it.
just scrolled through his
Just
memory
plucked
and
it out. He got
grabbed
it.
it.
He's got it.
Swipe,
Argentina
swipe,
versus
swipe.
France.
Oh!
Wow.
It's an Argentina versus
I
France.
knew he was going to
That's
say
a
that.
that's a
That is
great
a
match.
great shout.
It
That is a
was
great
one of the
shout.
best games.
That wasn't even on my radar. I wasn't even
Jude,
thinking
how
World
was
Cup.
that
Did you
not
just-
on your
did you
radar?
just Go
Because
through
I was
the.
thinking more
I was thinking
club
Arsenal.
oriented. Yeah.
I was
No, do
thinking
you know what it
Champions
is?
League
It's like
as well.
you know, like a Rolodex. You know, like a Rolodex. Jude's brain
Oh,
is
yeah.
like, brrrr. Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Jude.
is. He's seen so many games that it has to be like that.
yeah,
He's got them.
yeah.
He's got them like you've got like a filing cabinet in here, right?
That's the
You
thing.
just go by date, year, season, league. It's great.
But that's the thing. Jude is not
players.
just an Arsenal fan. He is he'll watch all the England fans.
He's a
watch
true and true football fan.
I mean,
Jude's just going through the highlight reel in his head of,
Yeah.
of different games that he's
I've
watched.
come into him. I've walked in on him like watching hours of the US
like-
women's national team or like the
watch
Arsenal women's
anything.
team. Yeah, he has watched. I mean, they're
So
great
much
teams,
football.
but like that's the thing is he doesn't.
And do you know what he
exclusively
loves
just
doing?
watch any
He
specific.
loves playing FIFA and choosing like third division leagues in Denmark.
Oh, he cut out.
Or like
We
second
lost
division
you,
in
but
the
third
Netherlands.
division teams like it. Yeah.
Oh,
One of
yes,
my favorite Jude phrases of all time is, "I need to make a change." So
Yes.
because he needs to sub out some.
Jude is a monster on FIFA. He's memorized every logo, right? Do you know what? 1 week we'll do a screen share because we can capture it, and I will run it, or Oscar or Milo could run it, and we'll do a quiz. And we'll see every time you get one wrong, we get a point, and every time you get it right, you get a point. And they can be, and Oscar, they can be like literally, they can be the top, let's say, Championship, Premier League, and then obviously Ligue 1, La Liga, and then Serie A, and obviously Bundesliga. I guarantee Jude would win.
So top 5 leagues in Europe, and the championship.
And the championship, yeah.
And I'll put some money on the line,
good?
Jude.
Yeah.
You might be walking out here with a couple racks.
You might be buying another
we
jersey.
gotta jump off, okay? So Jude, let's say bye to
Jude,
everyone.
thank you so much for coming on with us. And
join again some other
we
week.
really
Love you,
hope.
Jude. We'll see you later.
Jude, hey, I have homework for you. Bug your dad to get back on here so we can have you on again, okay?
We'll try and join at least like once or twice a month. How does that sound?
That'd be great. We'd love to
That's
have you
great.
as much as we can.
Hey, you know
Jude,
what?
we love you, man.
It's Thanksgiving next week, and Dad's not traveling, so we can for sure join next week.
Yes.
Great
Let's
news.
do it.
Great news.
We'll do
We'll
it.
talk
Okay.
England.
Yeah, we'll talk
Okay.
England chat. See you later,
Okay, love you
Jude.
guys.
Thank
See
you
ya.
so much for joining us.
Okay, see you guys.
See ya. Oh, man. I love Jude so much. That was so fun to have him on the podcast.
He's great.
Oh,
and his ball knowledge is just top tier. Some of those answers, I was like,
I
not expecting. He always surprises me with that.
Yeah, I love that he didn't mention Ollie at all in his in why he's an Arsenal fan. I thought that was phenomenal. Well, hey, there's plenty more that we can dive into. Plenty of chat. That
Plenty
we
of
can
the
have.
regular
So,
stuff to chat about.
So much stuff. So, do you want to dive into? Do you want to chat? Honestly, I want to get into other games a lot. I mean, Arsenal. You know, we can chat Arsenal real quick, but there are other games I honestly care about more, which is crazy as an Arsenal fan. But really, it was a pretty routine win at Burnley. Should have won that game. We won it. Fabio Vieira is a moron for doing what he did.
That was so stupid.
That was so stupid. It was always going to be a red card. 10 out of 10 times. The referee was going to call that. I loved. Did you see? I don't know if you saw Arteta's interview afterwards. They interviewed him, asked him a bunch of questions, and then he said, "What about VAR? You didn't ask me about VAR." And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry about it. He's like, VAR was great. Referees did great. You don't just ask me questions when I'm riled up about stuff. So I thought it was
That's
really
good.
cool. Like, they did. There were no stinkers in that game. Arteta didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. It was 100% a red card. He should have gone off. He did go off. I didn't have any complaints. I think Trossard's a monster. I love the formation that we're playing now. That front three, I think, is so much more creative than it is when Nketiah starts in that position. So
yeah, I was same thing. I agree with everything you said, and I think it's been refreshing to see Trossard up top, especially with Gabriel Jesus coming in and out of the squad with injuries. Also, sometimes he goes on scoring form and off of scoring form. I think Trossard has a real shout for like pushing for the starting number 9 role because he has ahead of Jesus because he has the technical ability of Jesus. Maybe not as much the hold up play, but everything else. And I would say his balls into the box are even better. Like having him do the crosses, I think is awesome. He does better than Saka and Martinelli at that, but also the link up play and then having someone in front of goal that's clinical. And I think especially like preseason, watching some of those games, Trossard was, even when he was playing in more of a number 8 role, like his finishing was top tier. And I feel like he just hasn't really had the opportunity that I feel like he deserves to come into the starting 11. And sometimes when he has started on the wing, he doesn't give us that same pace and just direct approach that Martinelli has. So he's been a little bit less, I guess, favored in that position. But I really, really like him in the false 9. And I would hope to see him more than we've seen in Nketiah in that role, because Nketiah is a great scorer and he's decent at hold-up play, but his hold-up play and his clinicalness is not like as beneficial as Trossard's link-up play, his runs in behind, and also I think Trossard's finishing is on par, maybe a little bit better than Nketiah, honestly.
To be honest, like we kind of forget how good his finishing is. Really, he didn't finish like far off. He scored 8-9 goals for Brighton in the first. Well, no, I'm saying in the first half of the season, before he even came to us, he scored 8 or 9 goals for Brighton.
Yeah.
Like he can put away goals. Like that is a phenomenal return for half a season. And then, he was slotting in a new squad for the second half. He wasn't even played the full time. So he didn't score as many in our second half of the season. He contributed a ton of assists, but, we kind of forget that he has that ability in him. And really last season we did play him there for a little while and we really excelled. And it was while Jesus was back and he came back. I think he scored a brace on his return. And so he nailed back in his starting position very quickly. But I thought there's been very few games, I feel like, where we've played that forward position. There have been a couple, but for the most part, that front three is so fluid, and we really do excel with all those three. And goals, I feel like a front three like that, or a front three with Jesus, is what we're wanting. Nketiah, he is a good striker. He doesn't have the same fluidity as the others, which kind of stymies our play. He's great at coming off the bench. That's what I want him for. And I really feel like, I mentioned in the last podcast of like similarities with ours and Pep's play. And you guys accurately pushed me back on that. I wasn't really talking about Pep's play right now. I was talking about kind of when he would play De Bruyne in that false 9 role. He would put, now he has like an out and out striker with Haaland, and their type of play has changed somewhat. But I do feel like kind of when De Bruyne was filling kind of a false 9 role, there was that very fluid nature of their front. And I feel like it's similar with Trossard in there. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I think I had made a comparison to Liverpool last time as well. And I feel like even that is a little bit, maybe more so Liverpool now, but even still, I feel like it is different because it's a lot, and I agree, it's a lot more fluid of a front three. And the thing with our 3 attackers, especially on the left side and on the right, like Saka is a traditional winger. He's not a striker, but Saka will sometimes just like come over to the left side and then link up with like Martinelli and then go back to the right, or like stay on there and try and overload. And then also you watch Jesus and Martinelli switch out like interchangeably. And the thing I like about Trossard is he can do that too. And even though Nketiah does play on the wing sometimes, he doesn't have that technical ability that to even close to the same degree that Trossard has. So it's really just not the same kind of threat. He kind of has the same thing where he cuts in on his right and is looking for a shot to cull it in far post. And
I feel like Martinelli specifically, I feel like Saka, he kind of finds a way to still excel, but I feel like Martinelli specifically really struggles under the Nketiah system. As he kind of gets isolated a little bit out on that left wing. And I feel like Trossard or Jesus really lets him flourish because they do have that kind of fluidity on that left side. And so I think part of the reason why we haven't, he was injured for some of the season, of course, but I feel like even just in recent games, we've seen him really start kind of notching up a couple levels with that shift in front. So I'm expecting to see a lot more goals coming in from the left if we continue kind of this one.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that. And I think also something that plays a part in that is the inverted fullback. Usually we're inverting from the left back into the midfield. And when we do that, you need your striker to be able to push out onto the wing to help Martinelli as well. Otherwise, he's going to get isolated. And although he has a lot of talent and he has a lot of skill, he has a lot of pace, you need someone to play off of. And if your striker isn't able to kind of go into that left wing role when he doesn't have an overlapping fullback, then it's going to be hard for you to, find a way to the goal. I mean, once we saw, especially against Sevilla, I felt like he was just cooking them. And wasn't it Trossard that started against Sevilla as well?
Yeah. So the last 2 games, we are setting a really weird precedent because we had 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins.
Hopefully, yeah. Good thing it's an international break.
Yeah. Hopefully the international can break our streak because but no, I really hope that this is something that we continue with. Because again, we know Nketiah has skill. He phenomenal hat-trick. That was just an amazing game. But consistently, this is a front 3. I think that's gonna do it for us. Shifting into other games around the Premier League because this was a very interesting week. You had Bournemouth beating Newcastle somehow. I was going to say if we have a friend of yours that's the big Newcastle fan that we want to have join. If we didn't have if Jude wasn't able to join us today, that might have been a good shout because I really want to know what he thought about that because that was crazy. I mean, we both picked Bournemouth as getting relegated from the season and smashing them 2-0 was just,
it's crazy.
I thought that was going to be a decimation of a game. And so that came out of nowhere for me.
I think for them, they've been dealing with a lot of injury issues, which before that game,
true.
I was speaking with him, he was kind of vocalizing that as his main concern. And it's that's kind of what's happened. And I just don't think that they brought, And I think especially with having their main signing of this season, be banned for pretty much a year, maybe more now with more allegations coming up. Mm-hmm. And then also having a lot of key players getting injured has been really tough for Newcastle. You'd think that with those injuries, like a lot of the injuries they had, we'd be able to get a result against them. But that's not the case. We're dealing with injuries, but that's not really an excuse. So, because they have more than we do. So, I don't think still, with the amount of quality they have in their squad, they should be beating Bournemouth as one of the worst teams in the league. But, I think injuries has been a big thing with them.
Yeah, another team that's played with injuries. Tottenham. That was one of the ones I was so proud to have perfectly predicted. Last time when we did our predictions, we neither of us had I think you said a 0-0 and I said 2-1 Wolves. Which
you said 2-1 Wolves?
I said 2-1 Wolves. That was one of the ones I perfectly predicted. Because, even though that they had a perfect record up until that Chelsea game of, well, not perfect record, but, undefeated, I really felt like those injuries to Van de Ven and to Maddison were going to be huge. And not having Romero available to them as well. But specifically, and now we know that Van de Ven and Maddison are going to be out most likely until January. And those are, I would say Van de Ven, Maddison, and Son are their 3 best players. And so now to have two of their three best players gone for the next 2-3 months, I think I could see them drifting pretty far away from the top. Probably still in a shout of Champions League, but I definitely don't think, Spurs were feeling confident of ruling for a little bit, but I think they're going to really struggle. And we saw that, they 2 injury time goals, they just completely, I don't know, that is just, game turned on its head. What did you think?
As an Arsenal fan, I thought it was great. I loved it. And when I saw the scoreline, I mean, obviously I was happy. But then once I didn't watch the game live, but when I saw 2-1, I was like, oh, that's great. And then I saw the timestamps of the goals. And then I went and watched the highlights as well. And they just choked it, dude. They choked it so bad. And I guess for a lot of Tottenham fans who have been kind of having their chest puffed out, it's been a little bit of a reality check, especially seeing as, not only them, but also Udogie is out as well. You kind of have to wonder how they're going to be able to play Poch's system, especially without their creator.
Postecoglou.
And what did I say?
You said Poch.
My bad. But yeah, Postecoglou's system without their playmaker, their creator, but also their pace in centre back that helps them keep that high line. Without Van de Ven, who I think everyone would agree is the more pacey between him and Romero to be able to cover that distance when playing the high line. How are they going to get that defensive security? I mean, you saw that on plain display when you have Davies and Dyer in the centre back, and they were getting peppered the whole game. You would have, if it ended 1-0, you would have been surprised, but also
Dyer is the antithesis of pacey. So
Dyer's molasses.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, they had neither. They didn't have Van de Ven. They didn't have Romero. So that I think, I thought they were going to struggle, and they did struggle. And it was, commiserations. But I'm an Arsenal fan, so I don't care that much. I thought it was funny in the way that it happened, that they thought they were going to win it, and it was snatched away at the last moment. Really, I just love Son, so feel bad for Son. He was trying his best, but his team let him down. Liverpool, they won 3-0 against Brentford. Everything back as usual. Salah again with, smashing the goals away. But really want to get to Chelsea City, because that might go down as the game of the season. And we're only in November. I know what month it is. That was crazy. 4-4 at Stamford Bridge, where, you would have expected a complete annihilation by City. But I have to say, that was one of the best showings by Chelsea, I would say. They really stood up to that threat.
Yeah, watching that game, I don't think I've ever been such a big Chelsea fan during a 90 minutes than during that game. And it was honestly as just a semi-neutral, because obviously I wanted City to lose and I don't like Chelsea, but semi-neutral. It was really just a lot of different emotions. It would go from, oh, Chelsea, you suck. You conceded a goal. That's so you guys are going to get trashed on now. And then it's oh, wow, you guys actually did really well. And then it's oh, no, you guys suck. You guys are going to get smashed in. And then it's oh, no, they scored again. And then halftime came, and then they concede one right after halftime. And I was you guys can't even keep it tied for more than 5 minutes. And then they equalize again. And then they concede. And then, 90th minute, Cole Palmer puts it away with, by the way, Cole Palmer, 4 for 4 from the penalty spot. All of his goals coming from that, but he's been perfect. I think you got to give him credit. he's got a little bit of ice in his veins, and he's been, I would say, the best player this season.
I would disagree. I would say it's Sterling, but I would say Cole Palmer is a close second. And you could see, I mean, he just got called up to the England squad, and we can chat about that in a second. But I did think it was interesting
Did
that
he?
the two
I
wingers.
didn't think I saw him
He
in
did.
that.
He wasn't originally, and then because of injuries, like Madison dropped out, and he was a replacement.
That makes
There
sense.
were 3 others that went out, and like Dunk went out, and so other people got pulled in. So, but that's the thing. I think he's been phenomenal. I did think it was really funny that 2 wingers and probably Chelsea's best 2 players are City players.
True.
They turn around and
A little bit of class from Sterling with the calm celebration. I thought that was classy.
Yeah. And I don't remember what Palmer did either, but
the reason I say Palmer though is because I haven't seen Palmer have a poor game yet. I've seen Sterling has been either like incredible or like anonymous, but I feel like Palmer's been really consistent since he's come in, and he's been that number 10 or like false 9 that they've needed to kind of break the back line. And but I don't think there's anything wrong with Sterling either as their best player.
Yeah. But I would say Palmer was as being kind of an out of nowhere one. Like Sterling, you expect him to stand up. You expect him to show up on the day. You know, he's international for England for forever. He's played, for City. He's been in many big occasions. You expect him to stand up and take hold of a game. Palmer I saw Chelsea by Palmer, and I thought, this is another Chelsea spending way too much money on a player that really doesn't have enough pedigree that they're going to show up, because they've spent so much money on these young players that need time to set in.
Yeah.
And I thought he was another one of those, and it was, another stupid Tom Bowley signing, of which there are many. But he's been great. He has been a great acquisition.
I also feel like it was a great move for him as well, because he,
Totally.
as much as it's great picking up silverware that you barely played in, like you see that he just got called up to the England team. And if he wasn't, putting in that work for a top tier team, then he wouldn't be, I guess, on the radar, because he just wouldn't be getting enough minutes.
And that's the thing. And yes, injuries in the England squad have played a part of that. But would he? I don't think if he was still at City, he would not be in the conversation of getting into the England squad. He wouldn't have the minutes to be able to do it. And really, that spot on the right-hand side is his right now for Chelsea. So if he keeps doing what he's doing,
what do you mean on the
Chelsea
wing or like false 9?
He plays on the right-hand side. So Jackson plays up the front. But he plays on the wing and he comes inside. But he...
you're right. I guess I've been more seeing him as like a 10, but...
Well, Gallagher plays...
he has
kind
been.
of an advance.
I think it's kind of been... Yeah, you're right. It's his play's kind of been more fluid around. Like, he kind of pops up everywhere, which has been really cool. But yeah, you're right.
But yeah, but I mean, like, he's not being pulled out the side at any time soon, and neither is Sterling. And you have people, that they've spent a lot of money on, like Mudryk, that are going to be comfortable being on the bench and grabbing substitute minutes, because those two are doing great and they're not getting pulled anytime soon. I thought the penalty was very harsh with Cucurella, Haaland. That wasn't a penalty. Haaland was like yanking Cucurella, and it was very mutual.
I feel like that's where we disagree. I feel like it was stupid from Cucurella. Like, they were pulling each other like at the start, but from what I saw, he was like holding on way too long. And I think a little bit of back and forth is like okay, but you can't make it too obvious. And I feel like it was more Cucurella's fault, but I've also had a lot of people have your opinion as well. So,
well, I think I feel like Cucurella does stupid stuff very often. But yeah, he shouldn't have. That wasn't a smart thing to do. I do think it was harsh for the penalty. VAR, I did see, and I don't really want to get into VAR chat because I really want to dive into England as we're heading into the international break. But I did see that that the FA is considering. I talked about before of that the Premier League should institute the additional the semi-automated offsides, which if had been used for Arsenal, probably would have meant that goal wouldn't have stood, in my opinion. They are actually considering adding that. That's already in play for World Cup. It's already in play for the Champions League. The Premier League did not choose to use it. It sounds like that might be coming into effect for the Premier League, which should speed up VAR, which would be great, and make some of the stupid calls go away. So hopefully that gets implemented, so we have less stupid VAR decisions. Let's get into England though, because I'm stoked. I love international. I love international week, and it's fun to see new players be able to get time to shine. I do think there's a lot of players that are on the roster that will not be on our team come Euros, but they get a chance to wear an England shirt and get a cap. So, and we're playing against North Macedonia and Malta, so this is why should be.
I'm on the very other side.
Galore.
Yeah, I'm on the very other side where I hate international break. I just want to watch the Premier League or the Champions League. It's so. I know, like it's fun to see the plays and stuff, but also when players get injured playing for their countries, and
it's the worst.
You just are watching like a lot worse version of football. You're just like, come on, let's see something.
That's what happened with Gabriel Jesus with the World Cup, and they really messed us up. So,
and I love the World Cup. The World Cup's awesome, but still, like a little part of me for every international thing would.
Are you more an Arsenal fan than an England fan?
See, this is a debate we've had before where I said I would rather see England win the World Cup than Arsenal win the Premier League. And for me, it's just because it's something I've never seen, even though I was like a tiny child when we won.
I would agree with that. What if it was like, let's say it was last year, right, where City won the treble, something like that. Like something.
If we won the treble,
just insane. So Arsenal winning the treble, right? Let's say it's Carabao Cup and Carabao Cup's been wrapped up, Premier League's been wrapped up, it's Champions League final, right?
Wait, Carabao Cup or FA Cup? Because that's a big difference.
Okay, well, whatever. FA
Make
Cup.
it the FA Cup.
Okay, FA Cup. FA Cup, Premier League, we got the Champions League final. Arsenal win the Champions League final versus England win the World Cup. Which one do you scream louder for? Which one just makes your heart just leap out of your chest?
That's so hard. Because on one hand, it's like we've never won the Champions League. We've never won a treble. Winning 3 finals is better than winning 1. But my soul, my gut tells me that, especially because the World Cup's only every 4 years, and it's like...
I'd say England.
I would say England.
I would say England.
And it's so, like... I feel like a traitor almost to Arsenal saying that, but...
It's like, okay. I agree. I think it's... I love Arsenal. Absolutely love Arsenal. And winning any trophy, there are levels. You know, Carabao Cup, I'm like, yeah. FA Cup, I'm like, all right, nice. Premier League, Champions League, wet my pants a little bit.
Champions League, and we had this conversation, and let me ask you this again. We said Champions League or Premier League. I would say Champions League.
I'd say Premier League.
And the only reason I would say Champions League is because we've never won it.
I just think there's something different, though, about the Premier League because it is you are proving you are best over 38 games. And you have said, this is mine. I have staked my claim to it. Where, you know, you can have an off game in the Champions League and just be knocked out. And it's,
but then
you know,
at the same time, like with the Premier League trophy, you're not kind of getting that like we won it in one game where it's like win or lose. Like a lot of the times there's 3 games left in the season. You won it or you've lost it, you know?
Totally. I think if you're talking like an individual moment, the Champions League is going to have a bigger effect, a bigger excitement because it's, you know, that moment where the whistle blows. Totally. But if like at the end of like in the summer, you're looking back and being like, I can't believe we won the Champions League or I can't believe we won the Premier League. Which one would I be more stoked on? I would say Premier League and you would say Champions. So, either one I would be very happy for.
Very true.
So I would take either or the FA Cup. No, I won't take I want the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, this year I would take the FA Cup and like second or third, as long as we're challenging next year. But ultimately, like, I want to win something, and preferably, please make that the Champions League or Premier League.
I do think we're not there yet.
High hopes for. Yeah,
I do look at my squad, and I don't. I do look at our squad, and I see weaknesses. I don't look at my squad and say, "This is a Premier League winning team." This is a. I feel like once we have injuries back, like we could very possibly, but okay. So let's chat England for a little bit. We've got maybe 10 minutes left, 5-10 minutes left. I want to chat. Let's go through. I want to chat with you of who we think our best players are. So we're not going to get through the whole squad. I think. Midfield, forward, we save for another day. Goalies, defenders, and we'll see how far we get. So the people that have been called up, right, for goalie, you know, Jordan Pickford owns that. It's his spot. There's also Sam Johnson and Aaron Ramsdale that have been called up again. Do you think they should be the ones that have been called up, or what do you think?
I think that the best goalie right now didn't get selected for the England.
Nick Pope?
Yeah, Nick Pope.
I think Nick Pope should be our number one right now. I mean, I would have said Aaron Ramsdale, but he's not. He isn't getting to play. If Aaron Ramsdale was our number one keeper, I would say he should be the starting goalkeeper, but he's not. And so I think Nick Pope should be England's goalkeeper. I
feel like when it comes down to penalties as well, like I would way rather have Nick Pope in goal over Aaron Ramsdale, over Jordan Pickford.
I don't know. Jordan Pickford is very good at penalties. Like, just think back to the Euros. He saved 3 out of 5.
That was sick. And like, and props to him. The only thing is he has a little T-Rex arms. So I don't know how much you can rely on him doing that every time. And I would just like way rather have a big body in goal like Nick Pope versus someone like Jordan Pickford. And he's good with his feet. Like Nick Pope's good with his feet. So
I don't honestly, I'm not going to bag on Jordan Pickford. I do think he is very good. I feel like I feel like he is not kind of in the conversation of one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and while we have such a strong team, I don't know. I feel like I personally think Nick Pope is a better goalkeeper than Sam Johnson, and so he should definitely be in the squad. I'm really surprised that he's not in the squad, and I do think that he is a better goalkeeper than Jordan Pickford. So I was really surprised.
You think he's better than Ramsdale too?
I think he's better than Ramsdale because he's playing. I don't know that he's a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale when Ramsdale is playing frequently and on form. I think Ramsdale is a great goalkeeper, and I love Arteta, and I am very appreciative of everything that he's done for the football club. He has done a phenomenal job, even though lots of people bag on him. But that situation with Raya Ramsdale, in my opinion, was very, very poorly mismanaged. And it really frustrates me. And he keeps saying, Ramsdale, be patient, be patient, be patient. And be patient
until
for
I sell
what? Yeah, be patient for what? Because all the games are just going to get more and more and more intense, and he's going to be under more and more pressure to play his number one, which is Raya, right? If he's saying be patient, be patient, be patient, and then what? He's gotten one game that he's played in forever. We played Burnley this weekend, right? Why couldn't Ramsdale played against Burnley?
Although Raya did have a great game. So.
He did. No complaints. No complaints. But I'm just saying, if you say that this person is top class, top tier class, why can't he play a game against Burnley? Why can't there be some kind of a rotation?
Yeah. I think that's valid.
Anyway.
It felt like when he at the start of the season he was playing Ramsdale, and in the back of his mind he's like, as soon as Ramsdale makes a mistake, I'm going to sub him. And he didn't make any huge thing, because yes, he had errors, but it wasn't
not as big as Raya's made.
And Raya's made plenty of those, but it's felt like he's like, oh well, he hasn't made anything super crazy, so I'm just gonna swap him now. And then as soon as he did that, he's like, yeah, you gotta just make me want you back in it. But at the end of the day,
but I don't know what he can do at this point, to be honest. I don't know how he can get back in the squad, because Raya has made plenty of mistakes, and that hasn't been enough to really give him a shot. So I don't know
where
he
would go. He could move to Chelsea, and that would be a good fit. But do you really want to be strengthening your rivals like that? And I can't really think about any other teams. Yes, Real Madrid could want a better goalie than Kepa, but at the end of the day, towards the end of the season, you're going to have Courtois that comes back. And are you telling me that Ramsdale's going to outposition Courtois on a long-term basis? There's no way. United just bought a brand new keeper.
Onana.
Munich has Neuer. Barcelona
not top
has
level. He would need to drop down a tier, kind of like what Martinez did. Not a big tier, but drop to kind of more of a mid club.
But then you're thinking he was doing it for a top tier club. I don't think he made any big issues with playing for Arsenal. It was more of just a preference thing. And you'd have to say that he'd want somewhere laterally to move to. So
yeah, I agree, and I think he deserves it. But do you think we have time to get into defenders?
For sure. Yeah, let's run it.
Okay. All right. So here are the current defenders on Arsenal's squad. So we have Levi Colwill, Mark Gay, Ezri Konza, Rico Lewis, Harry Maguire, Fikayo Toure, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker. Now, we are, first of all, I think very few of those people, I guess two of those people would be in our actual back four. I would say Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker, right?
Are our best right backs?
Yeah, but even sometimes I know Kieran Trippier's they played him on the left. I guess they would probably do Kieran Trippier as right back and Luke Shaw in. So here's the thing.
Are you talking about when Luke Shaw gets fit again?
Yeah. So I'm saying who's in our back four right now. I think we have a lot of injuries for our defenders. Let me run through everyone that's injured. So Ben White is injured, who again never gets called up for England, but should be called up for England every freaking day of the week. But anyway, Ben White is injured, John Stones is injured, Luke Shaw is injured, Burns injured, Dunk's injured, Chilwell's injured, Reece James is just coming off an injury, and Tyrone Mings is injured. So all of those people are, so I feel like what our actual backline is going to look like come the Euros is going to be very different than what it's looking like this international break. If you had your pick of what back four you would have if everyone was fit come summer, who would you choose?
I think it's somewhat dependent on matchup, but to kind of qualify it, I would probably, if we're wanting more of an attack-minded team, I would put Trippier as right back. I would put Ben White and John Stones at the center backs, which I feel like won't happen because Southgate has this unsaid, undetermined vendetta against Ben White that was never disclosed. I wish someone would just tell me what happened there.
And I wish people would grow up and just sort stuff out for the sake of England Football Club, for the three lions.
I feel like for the most part, you would say our most talented centre-backs is Ben White and John Stones. Like, I can't really think of another partnership that would be the same level. I feel like Colwill is good, but he's young and he makes a lot of mistakes. And even at Chelsea, you can see that. I think Gahey's good, but I just don't think he's at that level yet. I think Maguire, as much as he's received hate and everything, I'm here to pile it on a little more. Like, I think he's...
So you're going to shift gears.
Like, I know he scores headers and, like, he's pretty good, but he's so slow. And his decision-making is slow on the ball. Like, I feel like in his mind, he believes that his best attribute is his distribution. And because of that, he takes a while to, like, scan the field and make the right pass and stuff like that. But it's like, our center backs are not our best ball playing players on the field. We have world class DMs that like Declan Rice should have the ball every time it's available. And if Declan Rice doesn't have it, it should be pushed forward to Jude Bellingham or Madison, like, which I feel like we can get on to like the midfield next week of what we believe it should be like. But I feel like because he believes that he's a good distributor, that he holds onto the ball. And then also we have to load our back line because we're pace deficient. And we have to play with someone like Kyle Walker in the right back because we don't have the pace in behind because of someone like Harry Maguire. So you have Ben White and Stones in the middle, Trippier on the right. Who's on the left? I'm going to go with an outside shout, Rico Lewis. I think he's a very technically gifted player, and I think he's a little bit unproven. But I also feel like Gareth Southgate has done a really poor job at managing these young players. Like, initially when he came in, he gave chances to players like Saka, but after a year or two, he's like, okay, well, now I have my favorites, and this is who it's going to be moving forward. I would like to see a very technically gifted team to support how much talent that we have. So I would put that as my main back line. But if we're going for a more defensive team, then I would probably put Trippier on the left back and then Kyle Walker on the right back.
Yeah, I do think right back we just have so many options. Like, we have Trippier, we have Kyle Walker, we have Reece James, who's fit once every 7 years. But when he's fit, it's great. We're not even talking about Alexander-Arnold, which on England's squad, it actually like lists him as a midfielder, which is interesting. Crazy. I think he plays better there,
for sure.
To be honest,
at least he has a chance.
Left,
there.
Yeah. I would agree with the centre backs. I think Ben White should be. He is a great centre back. He played centre back with us for ages. He should be in that spot. He's much better than Maguire. Left back, I feel like is the place where it's not quite as secure. You have, if everyone's fit, you have, you could play, you could play Luke Shaw there. You could play Ben Chilwell. You could play Dan Burn. Burn is, Burn could fulfill that role. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I think we're going to see a very different back four.
Who's your pick for left back?
I don't know. I might say Burn. I like Burn
really
a lot. I think he's really good. I think Ben Chilwell, again, he is always coming off of an injury.
I also feel like he's kind of like, I feel like Ben Chilwell is a little bit overrated.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I feel like defensively he's not that good.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, maybe Luke Shaw. I feel like especially wearing an England shirt, he does really, really well. So,
Yeah, and if he was healthy right now, he'd be United's starting centre back. So I feel like
you mean
Luke Shaw
left back?
Yeah, sorry, left back. I've been getting my words mixed up today. But
yeah, you're good.
Pascaloglu, Poch, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I love a little bit of England, and so we should decimate both of these teams, and then move on to England.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
If seeing as Ben White, there's almost a 99% chance that he's not going to get picked, who would you put as a centre back instead of Ben White?
That is a very good question.
Just gut feeling. I've got you on this one.
I don't know. Maybe Gay. And as well, like John Stones, he actually plays really well in midfield as well. Like he also,
yeah, it's like a left back or a right back that inverts.
Like I feel like his best position isn't in centre. We kind of have to like hodgepodge our centre backs. Like we don't really have like really phenomenal centre backs.
But John Stones is a world class centre back. Like that's his bread and butter. Good.
I do like Lewis Dunk. I think he does a good job there. I think he would have been in there if he wasn't injured right now. So possibly Dunk. Probably like Gay or Dunk, I would probably say.
I really like Dunk, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I saw him come into the England squad last international break, and in terms of distributing from the back, like you could argue Maguire has a better range of passing, but the way he just like would give it to the midfield and let them run the show, I liked it so much more instead of this like pass back and forth between our center backs and then shift it onto the left backs or into the midfield and then pass back. Like it's just so slow, it's so predictable. I like the pace of play more when I had Dunk versus Maguire. So I agree. I'd probably pick Dunk if Ben White's not available, which history tells us he won't be. So
yeah, probably won't. So
and it probably will be Maguire. So
yeah,
something we just got to get comfortable with. Yeah.
So we obviously don't have Premier League predictions because we don't have Premier League, which is very sad. But we do have England against Malta on Friday. We won't count this into our ginger beer bet.
I think we should. Milo, let's count it.
You want to count it?
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So England versus Malta. What do you think the scoreline is going to be?
I think it'll be 3-1.
I think it will be 5-0.
Wow.
North Macedonia, England.
Last time we played Macedonia, didn't we win like 11-0? 11
possibly.
I think it was double digits. I know it was.
It was something really nasty. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5-0.
I'll go 4-0. I don't think we'll smash them quite as much.
If we're at 4-0 in like the 85th minute, I'm just going to be crossing my fingers, crossing my toes, hoping we get one more.
Yeah, you don't want to pay me in ginger beer?
I already owe you some. So.
Yeah, I know. Whoa! Okay,
yeah.
Sweet. Well, we'll see. So we'll be, next time we chat, I think it will be, actually, let's see. When is the Macedonia game? It's actually next Monday. Yeah, so next time we record, it will be after both of those games. So we'll have the results there. We can dive into more England chat. So we'll jump into who we think our best midfielders are, who we think the best strikers are, wearing a Three Lions shirt. And sounds like we're going to have Jude back with us, which will be phenomenal. I feel like our podcasts get longer every time we do it. So
that's true.
But as always, Milo, it's phenomenal chatting with you. It's always great to chat football. It's always great to be with all of you and speaking about our favorite people that are on a pitch with a ball. So anyway, Have a phenomenal evening. Have a phenomenal morning, day, whatever time you're listening to us. And join us next time on the Backseat Managers Podcast. Thanks so much. Peace. Stay breezy.